This quick review will go through our sine and cosine curves. Remember, the amplitude was always the number in front of the sine or cosine, and the vertical translation, we also called this the midline. That was the equation y equals k. So that number at the end kind of told us how far up or down to go. So a quick mnemonic device, sine was in the soil. That tells us to start right on the midline. And so the standard sine curve before anything gets moved around, remember, has an amplitude of 1. So the sine curve, I'll do it in blue, starts at the origin, and then at 90 degrees it goes up to 1, 180 it comes back to the midline, 270 it drops below, and 360 it cycles back up. So let's say that we wanted to do the graph of y equals sine of x minus 3. Well, the amplitude here, the a, there's no a in front of this, which technically means the amplitude is 1, right? It's understood that 1's in front of there, and the midline is y equals negative 3. So let's draw in our midline of negative 3. And then remember, sine will start right on the midline. Then we go up 1, since that's the amplitude, back to the midline, drop 1, and then back to the midline. Connect it with a curve. Don't make these straight lines, please. All right, here in 62, we have two transformations. You got that 3 out front, which tells me the amplitude is now 3, and the midline is y equals 1. So we'll go ahead and draw our midline first. There's the midline. And again, sine starts in the soil, so it starts on the midline. And this time, instead of going up 1, we're going to go up 3. So it's going to go all the way to the top. And then we're back to the midline at 180. We have to be 3 below the midline, not the axis. So at 270, we're here. And 360, we're back to the line. And then we'll connect the curves. Remember, with law of cosines, the cosine curve, we kind of say cosine is in the clouds, which means it started kind of up above. Again, same rules apply where k is the midline. So the standard cosine curve is going to be centered around the midline at the axis, and since it starts in the clouds, that means it's going to start up at 1, and the cosine goes to the midline. By 180, it's 1 below. At 270, it's back to the midline. Then at 360, it comes back up to the top. So it kind of looks like a V through that first period. Right, so we look at 63, the cosine of x plus 2. So again, there's no number in front, which means the amplitude is 1. The midline is y equals 2. So let's go ahead and draw that midline in at y equals 2. Now the whole purpose of that midline, again, that gives us our new kind of reference point. So we're going to start in the clouds. An amplitude of 1 means we start 1 above the midline. At 90, we're on the midline. At 180, we're 1 below. 270, we're back on the midline. And then 360, we're back to 1 above. And we'll cycle this one through. One more example. 1/2 the cosine of x minus 3. So our amplitude here is 1/2. And our midline is y equals negative 3. So take a moment. Drawing the midline at negative 3. And now I'm in the clouds, which means instead of going 1 above or 3 above or whatever, the amplitude tells me I need to go 1/2 above. And then at 90, back to the midline. At 180, I'm the amplitude below, so I don't go full 1, I go half. 270, I'm back to the line. And then 360, I'm back to that 1/2 above. So the amplitude tells me how far above and below the midline I need to go. And so even if we think about the transformations, you can see there's a vertical compression, and then it shifts down 3. Well, that graph is kind of squished vertically, and then again, we've slid everything down 3, 3.